Maybe you should. No, I've got to get pizzas to that observatory over there. And so you get attacked by some like smoke monster, and you like the pizzas fall off, and you're like scrambling around, like, oh no, somebody needs the pepperoni.
So I'm swimming through 30 weight motor oil.
Why are these new additions to your game that your intention was to release this fall? What are you doing?
Their primary focus should be surviving litigation.
Someone take his phone. I'll do it. Just give me a key card and a red button that turns off Randy's Wi-Fi.
It pisses me off that they lump racing in with sports. Then you look at this, insert F-bomb, Mario Kart and Sonic Racing lumped in with F125.
An aimless rant. We were just angry.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
What's up, everybody? We are live. It is episode 47 of the Hardcore Casual Broadcast. He is Jay of F1 Podcast fame. I am Mason of Online Infamy, and we are the conversation at the mysterious statue in the abandoned desert behind you. It is good to be back. We had a bit of a crazy schedule last week, obviously, as I'm sure everybody did with Thanksgiving and all of that. So we had a late show, then we had a rushed show, but we got it in there. But we are back today, and this is what, like I said, I'm a professional wrestling fan. This is what, in the professional wrestling world, they would call the go-home show, which is the show before the pay-per-view, because next week we will be live streaming the Game Awards.
Yes, we will.
So you can join us. Pop in anytime. We will have it playing on here. We'll have ourselves on the screen. We'll be, playing the audio. We'll do the whole thing. Before we were like, or I was a bit nervous about strikes, but apparently that's all good. They've paid all the penny pinchers and the people that need to be paid off so that it can be streamed. So that's what we are going to be doing. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I think we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I am too, man. Anytime, even when we just do watch alongs on trailers, I think that's really added value for the people that watch our show, which, thank you for that, folks. But super excited that it's the Game Awards, even though it's going to be ridiculously long and drawn out. Hopefully Christopher Judge will not be making an appearance, and we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, just let him wave at the camera. Don't give him time to speak.
But yeah, really looking forward to it after the last couple of weeks I've had here. But man, happy to be here tonight. Happy with what we got on the board to talk about. A lot of cool stuff. Probably some debates. Probably some arguing. An unpopular viewpoint I'm going to have about one of your pieces of material. But let's get into it, man.
Yeah. What's funny is you mentioned the disagreements, and of course, one thing that I don't know. I've thought about this a couple of times, where we always have like hot takes or whatever. But what's funny is that anytime that we have a hot take, it's usually because we're positive on something that everybody hates. Like, anytime, like rarely are we like, oh, this is a hot take. This thing that everybody loves, we hate it. It's usually because we actually enjoy something that other people like despise. And we're actually the good guys on some of this stuff, But anyway.
Well, tonight I'm going to flip the script then, because that's not going to be the case.
Well, The first thing that I wanted to lead off with tonight was we have, and so leading into next week, December 11th, starting at 8 Eastern, 7 Central is the true start of the Game Awards. But there's like a pre-show that starts at 6:30, and I'm sure there'll be some stuff there. And we'll talk more about the Game Awards and some games that we think will show up there, reveals and whatever else. I know we did that last week, but there's even more things that we can talk about that are likely to show up. But leading into next week, we got ourselves a mystery. So I'm going to go over this mystery. We have a statue that is in the middle of the Mojave Desert with no context and nothing else. And it's just a mystery. So we're going to dive in and we're going to try to solve this, because I have thoughts. And then we're going to really dig into the details. It looked like you had something you wanted to say, Jay.
Yeah, and this is pre the statue. My problem is we're in the middle of the Mojave Desert, and it strikes a tone like the old classic Mafias movies where you got a hoopty Cadillac rolling out to the desert. 3 or 4 guys get out with shovels, and in this case we have a statue being erected. So I'm assuming a box truck because I'm betting it came in there full. But are we saying this thing just showed up in the middle of the night? Or one day it was not there, and the next day it was.
That is what
just
happened. Yes.
okay.
That is what happened.
Let's do it. Let's cuss and discuss, man.
Yeah. So a little bit of background. So the statue in question has appeared. Jeff Keighley is actually the one that tweeted this out. So again, one of the many headlines that you can find regarding this game. The Game Awards Desert Statue Explained. Jeff Keighley sparks massive announcement theories. So what sparked this entire thing was Jeff Keighley Jeff Keighley tweeted the following tweet. It was simply a picture of a section of what turned out to be this larger statue, but it was just this image. And then the words regal, inspiring, thickness.
Without two C's.
Now this was quickly recognized as a What 3 Words address. So What 3 Words is a website and an app that every 3 square meters of the entire world has been assigned a 3-word code. So if you pull up the website right now, where you sit at home, at work, or whatever, you can pull it up, you can hit the button, and it will tell you what your 3-word code is that could lead people to your exact 3 square meter location. Or you could look it up, whatever. So that's what this was. Regal, inspiring, thickness. So people, they looked up that address on What 3 Words, and it brought them here to the middle of nowhere, right here in the middle of the Mojave Desert. And so once that was found, people went out to it. So
which tells me again, by the way, looking at that map, that this thing was pre-constructed and hauled out here, because that was pretty far off the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was not constructed there for sure. It was one of those things where overnight it was brought in. So what cracked me up was, first, now this is I don't know who Synth Potato is. I apologize, Synth, if you ever hear this. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar. However, this is a guy that has been utilized through a lot of these news stories. So Synth Potato went and he tweeted, "This is the full teaser that Jeff Keighley posted today. At the 30-second mark in the bottom left, looks like Jormungandr, the world serpent. Either this is a new Norse IP, unlikely, or 1,000% a new God of War being teased." And it's, he does this whole bit where he looks at the thing, and we can kind of see now we've got these tendrils, this spider-like appendages coming out the front, and that was his first reaction to that. And then he followed that up later at night. He was surprised. So now it's nightfall. He then tweets again. He says, "The statue is lighting up at night. From all the evidence, this is granted, this is the guy that just told us this is 1,000%
yeah.
a new God of War game." He says, "Now, from all the evidence, this is most likely Diablo 4 expansion, not God of War, as Diablo fans have pointed out that the demons match D4's designs. Still hopeful that this ends up being something else, but so far, this is the conclusion." And from there, we had a lot of speculation flying around. We also had people called out Elder Scrolls, or some people were even saying Half-Life 3. Well, then, so going off of this Diablo theory, there were people tweeting about Diablo and Jez. So Jez Corden, insider has hits more than he misses whenever it comes to insider information. He didn't outright say it was Diablo 4, but some people were saying like, "Oh, guess it's time to re-download Diablo 4, whatever." And he was like tweeting back with emojis and things like that. So Jez was implying that indeed this was Diablo 4 related. However, Jason Schreier, which is basically gaming's only investigative reporter, followed up, and he said that he was not sure where Jez would have gotten that impression, but that it was definitely not Diablo 4. He wouldn't say what game it was, but he said that it was a good one. Now, all of the stories, and I was shocked that, I was shocked that nobody speculated some of this stuff. So at the bottom of, so here we got this one from Deserto, one of the first places to report on it. And they said, as of now, no studio has taken credit for this statue, and neither Jeff Keighley nor the Game Awards has provided further context. Then on IGN, it mentioned that the Game Awards kicks off on Thursday, December 11th. So we don't have long to find out what the statue is about. Let us know your best guesses in the comment. So everybody's like, we have no idea what this could possibly be. What could possibly be related to this thing? We have no guesses. And I'm just thinking, seriously? For real? Jeff Keighley tweets out a cryptic teaser, and you have no guesses, no assumptions about what it could be or who could be behind it. I'm telling you, if you went to this location and it was a 3-story statue of Crash Bandicoot, I'd tell you it was Hideo Kojima. If it led to the front lawn of Bethesda Game Studios and Todd Howard was standing next to a flashing neon sign that said Fallout New Vegas 2, I would tell you it was Hideo Kojima. Jeff Keighley tweeting this out makes me think there is no way that this is not Hideo Kojima doing something. Hideo Kojima loves his cryptic teases. And we all know that somewhere, some oak tree, whether in this life or the other, has Jeff Keighley's initials and Hideo Kojima's initials carved into its trunk with a heart around it. Like, I simply cannot see a scenario. Now, come in exactly a week, I will either look like an idiot or a prophet. But right now, my thing is, Jeff Keighley sends out cryptic coordinates to a statue. And I mean, it's got an alligator, it's got dinosaurs and demons and an eldritch god. And does that sound crazy? Yeah, but that sounds like Hideo Kojima to me. I mean, he made a party member and a core gaming mechanic out of a possessed puppet in the last Death Stranding game. I don't think he's afraid of a couple of dinosaurs and an eldritch god. So yeah, there you go. That is my gut reaction. That is my initial instinct, is that there's no way this is not Hideo Kojima. Go on, sir.
Okay. First off, I mean, I have many guesses that I think are all valid. It blows my mind that people are missing some great guesses that it could be, but I don't necessarily think they are. For one, Path of Exile 2 uses that very gothic, evil, and looking very dark, grim style. And
but so many games do.
And that game is about to come out of early access and go live. So that's one. Two is a revivification, if you will, of
Stuck the Landing.
Possibly Quake.
Ooh.
Because we haven't heard anything from Quake forever. And an even more obscure game that's not Claire obscure is Hexen, the franchise Hexen, which used absolutely evil, dark images. But dude, look at the games we've played recently. Remnant. And then the fact that this statue has what looks like a gate where everything is kind of piled up and shrouded around the gate. And so part of me thinks it's sort of related to that, which, you know, could be a lot of things. It could be Elder Scrolls. Because, you know, I looked at the armor on that one, that guy right there in the middle bottom. Very, very reminiscent of the Nordic armor in Skyrim. And then, of course, you have the world serpent. I saw that. And you brought up the alligator that has arms that are as long as a human being's.
We've got a bear right here.
Kind of weird. But, dude, there's so many different things that it can be. And yet, I'm obliged to agree with you on the fact that Keighley wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't Kojima-san. So, and you have to use Keighley's pronunciation when you say it with distinction. But that definitely, to me, looks like a doorway. I mean, it's even got steps leading up to it. Again, dude, I mean, look at the loading screen for Baldur's Gate, for God's sakes.
So
the big long
that's the thing.
stairwell out of the Underdark.
So that's the thing. So, okay, if we say that it's not Hideo Kojima, which to be clear, Hideo Kojima is still my guess. I am sticking to Hideo Kojima.
I wrote it down in my holy scriptures, so we'll be able to hold you to that.
But if we say, okay, if it's not going to be Hideo Kojima, let's take a look at some of the other things. So we got to factor in that this is the only thing that the Game Awards is doing in this manner, right? So this is a lead in to the Game Awards. So it's got to be big. It's not going to be some small thing. They're not going to do it for a game that people are going to be like, they're going to hear it. They're going to be like, huh? You know, this is going to be something that is either made by a company with prestige, or it's going to be a continuation of a series with prestige. I can't see any way around. It's going to be one of those two things. But then the other thing that we have to kind of factor in here. So Jason Schreier, who is, he does Forbes and all that stuff. He's like I said, he's like the only investigative journalist that we have in games media. He said that, and he has impeccable access and insiders. And he says it is not Diablo 4. He knows what it is. He's not saying, but he did say it's a good one. So this pulls me in a couple of ways. One, while Jason Schreier is a fantastic, I'll shy away from the word. He's a fantastic reporter. I'm going to try to let that one adjective cool down after I overused it a couple weeks ago. But he's a fantastic reporter, very good at his job. However, his taste in games does differ from mine quite a bit. So he's saying it's a good one. So I'm like, okay. He's like games media. He's very games media. So like the kind of game that a games media person would say, I like it. So it might be different from me. So that's probably going to weed out some of the stuff that I would really love, but people would be like, oh, it's too this, it's too that, it's too gory, too whatever. Right. So I don't know. So we got to have prestige one way or the other, whether it's the gaming, the studio or the franchise, and it's got a very games media person saying it's a good one. So I don't know.
Well,
with those tweaks, what do you think?
Well, I think that rules out a few of the ones I brought up, but you look at a game like Quake, who's got what I call historical cred. So you got street cred with that game. So that's still a major title and a major franchise, even though it hasn't been around for a while. But I mean,
when was the last Quake release?
Quake 4, I think.
Which would be
for the Xbox 360. Yeah. And early on in the life cycle too, not like late in the life cycle. So, it's been a long time. But it rules out a game like Hexen, because Hexen's a cult following franchise. I think it rules out Path of Exile because they're an indie company, based on your rules. But which I absolutely agree with you on, by the way. And then Remnant's still kind of a small house, very niche following. So I think it rules that out. Then we've got alligators with full-size arms.
And then we got this T-Rex looking thing here.
Dude, it could be another D&D, dude. It could be another D&D game. Maybe a live-action one. I mean, there's a lot of things it could be. That's my point. So these are obviously, you got zombies and liches and all kinds of crap in this. You got some type of like pit fiend down there at the bottom of this picture you're showing right now.
Yeah, so we got some, like dinosaurs, alligators, warriors, demons. It looks like some sort of gothic grand gate opening, and again, it shall not be overlooked, right? We gotta again talk about how it does light up. So that obviously has to be significant, and of course, it lights up right down that seam that you pointed out. Stairs up, goes right down that seam. So I don't know. If it was a Baldur's Gate, man, that would be interesting. Now, the thing, it would be, okay, I'm going to put this into the universe. What if somehow, whether because they gave them enough creative freedom, or they just put enough zeros on the price tag, what if Larian Studios could be convinced to do Baldur's Gate 4? Or what if this would be to announce Larian's own project, Divinity Original Sin 3 or whatever?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you saying Baldur's Gate?
I think Larian's got enough street cred right now where it could be them. I think they got enough cred to pull that off. For all the Bethesda homers out there, and I'm one too, but not in this instance. I just don't think this is Elder Scrolls. I will say this, though. The nighttime version of this statue gives off strong Daedric Prince vibes. As far as Daedric Princes coming through the portals, and your Mehrunes Dagon and that whole bit, and fighting those guys. But the daytime, I just don't know, man. There's so much at work in that monstrosity of a statue that it's kind of hard to nail down. I really don't think it's going to be Diablo related. I will say that.
I don't either.
I will absolutely rule out Diablo because I think Diablo 4 is just. Am I allowed to say cooked? I think.
Well, that's the other thing is like Diablo 4 has done enough damage to the franchise that them saying like, guys, Diablo 5 will get no hype. No one would care.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So no, it's got to be one that.
Man, Larian would be a great call here. Nobody said anything about CD Projekt Red either. So, is it a new Witcher? Is it a gameplay of the Witcher trailer? Maybe we're talking about Ciri going through the portal to the other world.
If it was CD Projekt Red, I would think it would have to be a new property because we've already seen too much of The Witcher 4 to do something like this.
I agree with that statement as well. I do too, unless they did admit though that was, that was basically a, what's it called? A demo, running in gameplay.
Oh,
graphics.
yeah. So, but it's like, this is the thing for something that you have not yet announced. Like if you already see it coming, I don't think you do this for it, but, and to get the Game Awards behind you, that also means that the Game Awards think, and Jeff Keighley, obviously key amongst that crowd. Jeff Keighley thinks that this is going to be a massive
That's what
deal.
worries me. It's not the statue at all. It's that Jeff Keighley's the one that dropped it. That's what bugs me. So I'm not going to nail it down like you did and say it's absolutely Kojima.
That's just my guess. That's what I got to go with. That is that's where I'm drawn to.
My top 3 based on the artwork on this statue are going to be Quake, some type of weird Kojima new thing he's got going on, and then probably a D&D related title that's maybe more of an action oriented one, which would be fabulous.
Okay.
So anyway, that's where I'm at.
So if you were to put all your chips on one, what are you guessing as far as studio or franchise? Which
I think
one?
It's going to be Quake.
You think it's going to be Quake? All right. Well, there you go. So that is us digging into this ARG mystery statue scenario here. So we'll see. We've got in exactly a week. We will know if either of us are right or we both look like idiots. So there you go. I'm saying Kojima.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Why'd I say it like Kojima? I'm saying Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
And Jay is saying Quake. So we will see. The other things that I wanted to touch on, one of the other big story that I had was there have been some more leaks for Assassin's Creed when it comes to and this is one that I didn't mention it last week whenever we talked about the games that our long shots for reveals that we could see at the Game Awards, or what we expected to see, or the things where there's no way this is not going to be there. I didn't think about Black Flag because I forget that it has still not been officially announced. This is the worst kept secret in all of video games, and I don't know how long. So I didn't think about this because I keep forgetting that it hasn't already been announced.
And if I'm a PR spin doctor person, I got to tell you too, I would be telling them to keep the hype low, because every time you bring up this game, it's going to make people think about Skull and Bones instead of thinking about the original Black Flag. And it could actually, I think it could drive down the hype for this game. I think playing this one close to the vest and low on the, I think it's going to help it. I really do.
Well, I agree with you because these leaks that they
Awesome.
are coming out with, they scare me. Like I told you that I was initially excited because we learned that from the leaks, according to the leaks, of course, we can't confirm anything 100%, but according to the leaks, which is also mentioned in this article, they are removing the modern day content, which this article mentions right here. So it says that it's expected that the modern day content will be cut entirely and replaced with new Edward Kenway missions. You and I had talked about that previously, and we were like, great.
That's
Like,
cool.
who cares? Like, we've said so many times, we'll get back on that horse yet again and say, yes, cut out all of the animus crap. We don't care. We don't care.
This is funny, but I can't even remember who we actually played in the modern world on that. Most of the games I can. I mean, well, the first three were all
I think it was Desmond, right? Desmond Miles was his name.
You played his dad in one of them. It might have been this one. And then you switched over to that Layla Hassan, but I don't think you switched to her until Origins, where you played Bayek, because she was a direct relative of Bayek. But I don't even remember who we played in Black Flag.
And now they've even done away with the whole thing where it's like, oh, you have to be a descendant of the. Now they don't even do that. Like, they're not even trying anymore. And we've said, okay, we'll do the random. I'll cut it short. Well, again, we've said, like, hey, if you want to do the modern thing, I'm all in. Do the modern thing. But if we're gonna do modern day stuff, let us do Assassin's Creed shit in the modern day setting.
Right.
Don't just have us go over there to do a first person walking simulator that we're just like, please, let's just. Okay, which elevator? Okay, go to this elevator. Let's do that. Because we don't care. It's not interesting. The anime stuff doesn't matter unless you actually tie it in and you have the same gameplay mechanics. It sucks. So yeah, I was stoked to hear that they were getting rid of the anime stuff.
There's nothing worse than, you're walking around the Caribbean assassinating guys, and then you get beamed back to that through the animus, and it's like, hey man, I left my coffee on Nancy's desk and I'm working on this project. Can you go pick my coffee up and bring it back to me so I can finish? And your objective is pick up coffee from Nancy's desk and return to Eric. It's
and then on your way to Nancy's desk, you get the thing in your ear and it's them hacking in. They're like, don't forget the TPS reports. It's like, who cares? I don't care. I don't want to do this. So that part I liked. But this is what we had talked about before. Remember whenever we were like, but this scares me. Because they were talking about updating it. Our fears have been realized if this leak is to be believed. And that is that they have taken the RPG elements of the more recent entries in Assassin's Creed and put them into Black Flag, where you have, instead of in the original Black Flag, you could work your way up to the different, uniforms and costumes that have different stats and perks. Gone. Now it's what we've been having, where it's like you loot bodies, you get a piece of, you get a sash or whatever, and it's a level. You're a level 13. This is a level 14 sash. Okay, let me put the new one on. Take the old one. It's doing those RPG, which I hate those aspects of the new format of Assassin's Creed, which is one of the reasons I think it's dying. But so they are doing that now. It does say here that it says that it has been reported that this RPG gameplay may have been scaled back in development as some fans, read all fans, weren't thrilled with it anymore, but it remains unclear. So they're saying that it's possible that this has been scaled back, but we don't know. So even if it's scaled back, I doubt it's removed.
My problem wasn't with that format. I didn't mind the format. My problem was, and you probably experienced the same thing, which probably led to a lot of your hate, was that some of those materials were ridiculously hard to either find, or they were ridiculously hard to get in mass quantities. And if you were a level 30 guy and, or let's say you were level 40, but you're still rolling around with level 30 gear because you don't have 18 pieces of soft leather, and now you need to spend 8 hours hunting bear because that was the only way to get soft leather in quantity, because they gave up 8 pieces as opposed to the pig, and they only gave up 3.
Well,
so it was stupid.
I don't mind the crafting.
That part was stupid.
Yeah, I don't mind the crafting, because even in the original, you had to do a bunch of things and work towards these costumes. I don't like the leveling aspect of what they're doing. So the crafting is one thing, and then it's the looting. It's the looting that I hate. And this new stuff where you loot and you're like, these boots, they're a lower level or whatever. I don't need these boots. I'll sell these boots. That doesn't belong in Assassin's Creed. I just hate. It doesn't make any sense. The more you think about it, the less sense it makes. Like, you just killed some soldier on the opposing side, and he has a set of boots that go with your. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I get it. I see what you're saying.
And then you can't control. You just end up in that same RPG rut that you get stuck in, where you look like an uncoordinated ape until you get to max level, whenever you can actually then kit yourself out and look the way you want to look. Because until then, you're just equipping whatever has the highest stats. Oh, whatever's the highest level, let me equip that. And so you just look awful. And you and I, we both talked about how we like visual progression of your character. And whenever you have like somebody that's supposed to be this badass assassin, whatever, and you just look awful, I mean, it breaks it. It breaks it. And I don't know. I'm terrified of them. I didn't want them to modern day this game. I just wanted them to update the graphics and stuff like that. You know, I just wanted more of what we had. I didn't want them to try to make it Assassin's Creed Shadows with pirates.
And I don't think you're alone in that. I mean, I'm with you on it. I'm sure millions and the millions of Black Flag fans are absolutely in agreement that just give us the same game. I don't mind them adding new Edward Kenway missions to replace the modern day.
I love that.
But as long as they're in the same vein and they tie in with the lore, I'm fine with it. I mean, I don't think we should, like, if they wanted to. One of the things that bugged me about the original game is that Florida, the southern tip of Florida, was an absolute pivotal location in the golden age of piracy. And we get one little mission there where you get to go for like 5 minutes. I think if they expanded that and added that to your new Edward Kenway missions, that would be fabulous. But, you know, I guess we'll see when it comes out.
So you think that Black Flag needs more Florida Man?
Yeah, we definitely. Well, that's the only other place they can really add that keeps with the lore is an actual, you know, fully realized Florida.
Well, so there we go. I wanted to bring that up because that was one of the things that, you know, we were initially excited, and then we're like, oh, they're going to do this, and then it's like, the more they're like, wait a minute, the more they mess with it, the more I fear that they're going to go in the direction that we have been. And so Bad news is they did, according to the leaks. Good news is, sounds like they may have gotten the hint at some point that people don't actually like this and tried to take some of it back. I have no doubt that it will still be in there to some degree that I will despise, but am I going to play it? Of course I'm going to play it. I'm going to want to see how much of that feeling I can get back of the original. But I will say, have you tried to play the original recently?
Played it last week.
Oh,
played it last week.
It still looks pretty damn good.
Looks great, dude.
Yeah, so
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's not going to be 4K 60 and you can see the fish under the water, whatever, but it looks really damn good.
Yeah,
so,
it does good.
You know what? If they botch this, I've got no problem just going back and playing the original instead, getting those TPS reports, getting the coffee to Deborah just to get to the other pirating stuff. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it if it keeps me from having to do the RPG bullshit.
I think the head of development needs to go, you know what? Go walk in the boardroom and go, you know what? Give them exactly what they want. Give them the original game, updated graphics, do away with the RPG stuff. And then if it ends up not being great, they only have themselves to blame. I literally would take that angle. Give them exactly what they want.
Yes. Why is this so hard?
It's so hard to figure out, apparently.
Yeah, it's like so this would be the second time. Again, we're
dude, don't do it.
We're digging it all up. This is just one big therapy session here. Okay, so this would be the
God.
This would be the second time that they have misread the room on the same game. The first time was whenever they sent out the survey and they said, hey, would you like this game just not attached to Assassin's Creed? Everybody said, absolutely. This is amazing. We would love to do pirate stuff all the time. We could do this every year, every 2 years. And they gave us they gave us Skull and Bones.
There we go. There
which
we go.
took forever.
There it is.
Skull and Bones was awful. And so if they do this and they make it, and again, I love RPGs. I love RPGs. We talked about it so many times. It's my favorite type of game is an RPG, but it doesn't belong in an Assassin's Creed game, especially not the way that they've implemented it. So if they do this and they screw this up, this will be twice that they have misread clear signals on their best received game ever.
Yeah, and you know, personally, this is where I agree with you on the loot too. I love Black Flag. It was like you walked onto a unnamed island, you kicked a chest, and it was like Captain Morgan's, you know, regalia. You're like, sweet, a new suit, instead of having to build it, even though I love crafting in RPGs. But you're right, it absolutely does not belong.
I mean, anybody in chat that disagrees, feel free to throw your opinions our way and tell us we're wrong. But
I don't know if you remember this, but and you probably, I'm sure you do, but one thing I think that would be great if they added more of are those the assassin boxes that were, there was only like one in each town that were there'd be contracts you could grab out of the box.
Yes.
Throw some of them in like weird, put them on an unnamed island, and you walk out there and it's some kind of legendary target. That would be awesome.
That was the other addition that they were talking about, where they wanted to do as part of the additional content that they were going to be working in. There was that string of islands, you know, that you could go to that really most of them had nothing going on, that they were going to put stuff on there and have more activities that you could do on the islands. But you know, if we have to deal with some of this other crap to get that, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I don't either.
So yeah, I'll play it, but you know, I'm getting nervous. So I don't know. You have any other closing thoughts on that?
I don't, man, because I'm afraid it'll just bring up more Skull and Bones shit. So let's move on.
Man, you know what? Hey, I don't mind. We can talk about it all. You know, it just drives me crazy. It just pisses me off that they've done it so many times. I get it. Whatever. Okay, we're just gonna move on. We're just gonna move on. Everything's good. We're all good. We're happy. We're having a good time. It's Game Awards next week. What's everybody's problem? I don't have a problem.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. God. Right. Okay. Quick little update. This is just one little thing that I mean, this was the only way this story could have possibly ended, and that is not long ago we talked about Bungie, and Bungie had gotten themselves in a spot of bother, as it were, with
plagiarism
for what was it, the fourth time
probably
in recent years, where once again there was an artist known as Anti-Real that had she reported like, hey, I think they stole my art. I'm seeing these trailers. I think they stole my art. And we looked at it, and there was no question. You know, sometimes
brother, it was dead on balls accurate. It was some of the same stuff.
There's sometimes where there's things like that where you look at it, you're like, I don't know, I guess I can kind of see some influences maybe. This was like, you know, highlight, Control C, Control V. I mean, they copy pasted her work over. It was not even close. They admitted, hey, okay, you got us. Looks like they did the whole they did the invisible scapegoat thing where they're like, oh, there was a former employee who we're not going to name must have done it, and we're looking into it. Blah blah blah. And they even had which we talked about whenever this had happened. This only happened days before. They had a live stream where they were going to do actual gameplay. So what do you do? What do you do whenever you're making a game? You are very credibly accused of plagiarism that you have already acknowledged, like, okay, definitely looks like we got caught. You don't do the stream. You don't do the stream. They did the stream. They did the stream, and we got to look at two dudes sipping coffee, looking like they had just been beaten with a belt for 4 days. And that was it for like 2 hours. And they were talking about different stuff. And it was while the chat just lights them on fire, just completely just sets
Makes you
these
wonder if they were
displays.
even watching the chat.
Dude, they should just have like Rick and Morty pulled up over the chat and just like zone out and just be like, we're just here.
They should have taken them off the air, but not told them. Just let them think they're still there. That would have been great.
So this is this story just got updated this week, and it, like I said, it ended the only way that it could. We have via a social media post from the artist Anti-Real, and she says that the marathon art issue has been resolved with Bungie and Sony Interactive Entertainment to my satisfaction.
Yeah, which means she probably owns her own art studio now. So
exactly, we all know what that means.
To Anti-Real. Good job, girl.
Anti-Real probably just got the biggest paycheck of her life, and it is deserved because again, it was not influenced. She didn't influence their art. They straight up copy pasted, ripped it off. So yeah,
I'm sure she had to sign a massive NDA at the end of this. Non-disparagement. That's the buzz line right there for we had to sign NDAs. No other details regarding the resolution were provided.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just goes on to say where they just kind of like wrap it up and they go on to talk about the previous stuff. They blamed on the former artist, all that. We don't seem to have, as of yet, any official statement from Bungie and Sony. Like typically in this kind of situation, there would be like a mutual statement where the injured party, in this case, Anti-Real, does exactly this. They say, hey, this situation between this person, it's been, resolved to my satisfaction, all good. And then the other side says, hey, we're happy that we were able to, get this settled, come to an agreement, and we can all move on. But we have not actually gotten the sort of standard kind of handshake statement from Bungie or Sony to go along with her.
Scroll down. What is this Washington Post part?
Hook told the Washington Post that it was vindicating to see direct plagiarism. Because it meant I wasn't crazy for feeling so uncomfortable with the overall direction. That is so. Hook is Anti-Real. That is her actual last name, and so this is all the details from when it originally happened. So this was her. As you can tell, her language has changed dramatically from that time to now, where her bank account is her cup runneth over, I am sure. So there we go. Do you have anything else to say regarding Anti-Real and the plagiarism?
No,
to call them plagiarism accusations is still, it just sounds like you're giving them, it was straight up plagiarism.
I'm glad she got what she deserved in a positive way, and glad they got what they deserved in a negative way to Sony.
I hope that it was a significant negative. I hope it was enough zeros that it stung for somebody to sign that check.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Like I said, I guarantee you she's probably got a 2-story downtown art studio with a staff now, or is about to. So
it's probably got 4 U-Hauls pulling up to it now.
And plus, we'll see her work again, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what
that's another
she comes up with next.
After this has only been good for Anti-Real. This has only been positive. Obviously, initially, that sucks. Hey, your art's being used. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting ripped off. Yeah. What's going on? But now she got, God only knows how big that check was. And she's got a lot of attention. Now people that saw the sort of, because let's be real, Marathon, the gameplay, obviously subpar. That art style that they had going on, super cool.
And then the cyberpunk genre right now is blowing up.
And her art was this sort of like you said, cyberpunk graphic art style that were on a lot of the assets, walls, barrels, things like that. It was super cool. So she's got a ton of money and she's got a lot of recognition now. I'm sure there's a ton of how many followers she gained. I think this is only going to be a positive experience for her going forward, for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like another developer won't say, "Hey, we like your artwork. We want to bring you in to be the art style for our next title."
Yeah, we'd like to pay you before we get caught. How about we just start with paying you, and then we kind of go from there?
I tell you what, though, if I was her, I'd make sure to stay if she got a decent settlement, stay independent. Just get brought in on a contract basis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Call your own
boss,
shots
girl.
at this point.
Yeah. Right. Anyway,
that is
cool
all
story.
I have as far as gaming stories. So before moving on to entertainment, what other gaming stories do you have, sir?
Well, my first one is happy 25th birthday to one of my favorite franchises of all time.
Oh, I was going to say thank you so much.
Which is that's been a long years since I was 25, or you.
Hey, now.
But sorry for that stinger. But happy 25th birthday to the Total War franchise from Creative Assembly. It's again one of my favorite franchises of all time. If you're into RTSs, you've probably played either Total War Rome or Shogun, or when they went off the rails and did Warhammer, or Medieval, Total War Napoleon, so many, Pharaoh, the whole bit. But it also was announced today that in keeping with the 25th birthday celebration, there will be a world premiere, even though a trailer was already released, a world premiere trailer for Total War Medieval 3, which the Dark Ages Europe is like one of my favorite times in history. So I'm looking forward to this, having played the other two, and I loved both of them very much. I still play Medieval 2, and it's 15 years old, maybe older. It's incredible. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that from that standpoint. And then also the J.J. Abrams production company, Bad Robot, has signed a contract with the developers of Left 4 Dead for a new game. And I don't know what it is. I didn't have enough time. It's been too busy this week. I didn't get a chance to really research that. So no announcement on possible game or title, but I'm wondering if it's in the same vein, because that's what they're known for, that 4-player co-op style gameplay.
So do you know, are there details about like the nature of this? Like, is it like a J.J. Abrams concept that they are going to be putting into practice, or like what is the division of labor here?
The part I read, that's very much the angle it read like, was that it was going to be a J.J. Abrams idea, or maybe something he's wanted to do, but maybe it's something he realized this isn't a good movie, but this is be a great game. And I can see him doing that. He's kind of crazy out there as far as that stuff goes. So I'm hoping it's something they're going to be able to pull off. And I mean, Bad Robot can print money now, so I don't think they would have picked them if they weren't the developer they had researched and vetted. So,
oh yeah, well, it was like I was saying earlier, where it's odd that most of the time, whenever like when we have a hot take, it's because we like something that a lot of other people don't. And J.J. Abrams is one. I know J.J. Abrams gets a ton of hate, and I actually really like J.J. Abrams.
I like J.J. Abrams as well. And all those guys. I think we lost one of them recently, but the old triumvirate of Abrams, Orsi, and Kurtzman, even back on the X-File days, dude. Which is where I really think he developed his lens flare technique. But anyway, that was it. That's all I got on games, dude.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, though, because, like, again, Left 4 Dead, that's one of those where it's one of those often imitated, but never duplicated, where so many people have tried to kind of recapture that magic, and some have gotten close. There have been some good attempts at it, but that whole cooperative survival thing, we've never quite gotten back there again. I know that there were some of the developers. I don't remember what the game was called. I can't recall it off the top of my head, but it was people that previously had worked on the Left 4 Dead series. But I mean, so many of the times we have these.
Blood. Was it Back 4 Blood?
Something like that, maybe.
I think so. I think it's Back 4 Blood.
But there's a bunch of things like Dead by Daylight or something like that, where
World War Z.
have where you've got like the thing where it's like, you have one player is the bad guy, and then you have X number of other players that are trying to escape or beat them or whatever. And we've had Friday the 13th and those sorts of things. But in Left 4 Dead, nobody was the bad guy. Left 4 Dead, like the bad guy was always it was CP. It was the computer. It was always a computer player. You didn't have somebody else. It was all teamwork. And that's the other thing. It was all about teamwork, where these sort of teamwork mechanics, while they have little touches of them in a lot of these other games, they don't have the degree to what Left 4 Dead did. I mean, Left 4 Dead, you'd have to have cooperation to get like on top of something. Like something was too high, you'd have to have somebody reach an arm down to pull you up or something like that. Like, I don't know, like we've just never quite gotten there again. And I would be super excited to see something where they took that formula that they kind of perfected and then see what crazy idea J.J. Abrams may have cooked up to go along with it and maybe kind of breathe some new life into it. Maybe it's not zombies. I got to assume it's not zombies. If it's J.J. Abrams, I have to assume it's not zombies.
Yeah, and I don't think it will be either. I think it's going to be Alien related, personally. Not Alien the franchise, just Alien generically. So I think it's going to be that. But anyway.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and I will allow you to get this out of your system, Jay, because we were talking before and I had mentioned that we were going to talk a little bit. There's some Avatar news, the movie franchise Avatar. So this will probably actually make you happy. Although this is one of those where I'm looking at it with, sort of side eyes where I'm like, I don't fully believe you on this one whenever James Cameron says it. So James Cameron explains why Avatar 4 and 5 are still not sure things. And this article goes on to basically say J.J. Abrams talks about how it's long. He's got a whole thing here. He says like, oh, the big swing in all of this. Do we make any money with Avatar 3? But the question is, what kind of profit margin, if any, is there? How much of an inducement is that to continue on in the universe? Or maybe we wait a while until we figure out how to bring the cost down because production costs have spiraled over the last. There's a whole long thing. Basically, all boiled down, James Cameron is basically saying, I'm going to do 3. We've got it. It's coming out soon. But, what if it doesn't make a lot of money? Maybe we just don't do 4 and 5. Or he goes on to say, well, maybe because 4 is scheduled to come out, I think, in 4 years. 2020.
Dude, he's got to be bucking 80 though. That's the thing he's leaving out is, can he get there?
Well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing he talks about. He talks about where he's like, oh, so basically the fourth movie. So we had 3's coming out now.
Oh,
the fourth movie is not scheduled to come out until 2029. 2029. And so he's basically saying like, okay, well, maybe if this, number 3 doesn't do super well, well, then maybe there's not enough of an incentive for us to go ahead and do the others. And, or maybe if it still does okay, maybe it's good that there's space because maybe that'll help the costs come down because everything's so expensive. So maybe development or maybe technology will advance to the point that what I need to do will actually be cheaper and then I can do more.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they basically just made a news story out of James Cameron's stream of consciousness as he is just spinning. I don't think there is any chance that 4 and 5 don't get made. There's just no way. James Cameron could finance those himself if he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm hoping it don't too.
Anyway. So before I'll let you get to that. So basically the long and short of it is James Cameron is basically saying, go see Avatar 3 because if it doesn't make a ton of money, maybe I won't even do 4 and 5 and I'll just call it at 3, which based off of what I've seen of 3 and the way that I assume the story might be going, my guess is that there would not be a satisfactory resolution at the end of 3 to cap off the franchise, and James Cameron would not allow it to get finished. So if you want my input, 4 and 5 are definitely happening. If you want Jay's input, I'm sure he's not happy to hear that. Jay, tell us your thoughts.
All right. Before I get proverbial vegetables thrown at me through cyberspace, I liked the first Avatar movie. The first one. Was it a trope? Yeah. Was every story beat absolutely predictable? Yes, it was. Was it a fun romp through floating islands with crazy looking Halo knockoff pelicans and condors? Yeah, that part was great. Throw in a little mech warrior. I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Oh, well, it wasn't important.
Okay, good. So did I love the cast? I did. I mean, you can't go wrong with Sigourney Weaver, and I always forget his name, the guy that played the bad guy, the colonel or whatever.
Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang. And I love him. But he, we get to the second movie, and Jake Sully seemed very tired in that movie. Just constantly, it didn't feel like he gave it 100%. I really felt like the story was better as a one-off, sort of like Highlander. It didn't need a sequel. There can be only one. And here we are with a third one coming out. What, Fire and Ash or whatever. Not excited about it. It's starting to turn into the Fast and Furious of the sci-fi universe.
Wow, that is unfair. I will say that hurts.
It's my opinion, and I respect it. And
you respect your own opinion, yes.
I respect my own opinion, and that's just where I'm at on it, man. I like I said, I was done after the first one. I felt like they tightened it up in a nice little bow for us, and we didn't need anything else. So that's where I'm at. As far as 4 and 5, yeah, man, there's so many factors that go into why this probably shouldn't be made. Even if he is still kicking around, how sane is he going to be? And to be able to put this story together, unless he's already got it.
I think he's already got it.
Sounds like he does have. Yeah, it sounds like he does have.
I mean, he probably doesn't have like dialogue and scripts, but yeah, he knows where he's going.
He's probably 2/3 of the way to the solution there. So
I'd say he's probably about 3/5 of the way.
And he could.
There's 5 movies. He's made 3.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, he's actually over and needs to be canceled. But anyway, yeah, I'm not a huge fan. So, at this point, from the sequels on, so personally, I don't care one way or the other if they get made. And for the people that love this franchise, good for you. I'm happy for you. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
You know, anybody that gets more,
I'll take that to heart.
It
means a lot.
Anybody that gets more of something they love, I'm not going to judge you for that. There's things I love that I'm sure a lot of people out there probably hate, but it is what it is. So enjoy your movies. I'm just not a fan.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, I am looking forward to it, and I understand. Like, obviously, the first movie it felt complete because I think it was. I mean, it was complete. Like, I know he had said, like, oh yeah, there's other things that we could do, but he wanted to tell the story, and he got that story told. But I certainly do have some issues with the second one. The little human guy whose name escaped, was it Spider or something like that? I don't know. It was a weird Spike. It was Spike or Spider. I don't know. But the guy that walks around in a loincloth, like, bro.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing? There's no reason that you need to have a loincloth. There's no reason you need to have dreadlocks. Yeah. There's no reason for a lot of this stuff. But it just felt weird. So I have issues.
Can we get a pair of cargo pants over here?
Yeah, right. Like you've got so much access to military fatigues, and you're walking around in a loincloth. But I do like the second one, and I think that I'm going. So far, the reviews and first impressions of the third one are actually really good, and I do like what he is doing, even if I don't think that I've got my issues with the second one. I do still really like what he's building up to, because essentially what he's doing is he's kind of doing this sort of tried and true trope of unifying people. There's a whole bunch of different things. I mean, Lord of the Rings was the big thing where I love it to unify this side and that side and these people, and let's all fight for a common goal and common good. And so with Avatar 1, it was like the ones that lived with the forest. In Avatar 2, now you're in the ocean and you're seeing how these people, the other Na'vi, like operate within the ocean, but they still have these conflicts. And so you bring these two people together, and then here we are, number 3. Well, now so you've got earth, you've got water. Now number 3, you've got fire, and I'm sure the initial point will be to unify them. It looks like what's going to happen is they're actually going to be a very antagonistic force, and I think eventually they will have to unify. But whatever, I like what he's doing. I believe in James Cameron, and they're also, of course, this always gets kicked around and brought back up. Produced another show or another movie that I loved with Robert Rodriguez, and that was Alita: Battle Angel. I know that movie got a lot of hate. That's another one I loved, and I want a sequel. I like
that movie too, dude.
And it's doing every so often it hits the news cycle where they talk to either James or they talk to Robert, and they talk about how they've made this blood oath to make the sequel. And so people are like, it's happening. Well, there's no confirmation that it's happening, but they're working on it. So I like James Cameron. Can it be tropey? Sure, but I enjoy it. So yeah, there we go.
Like
that is our split opinions between Jay and I on Avatar.
And my favorite movie he worked on was The Abyss, dude, without a doubt.
That
It's
is
one of
good.
my favorite movies of all time, even though apparently the entire cast had to work under horrible conditions to get that one made.
Yeah, you don't hear about that much anymore.
No.
It's kind of current day, since everybody does it in front of a blue screen. You don't get a lot of those stories about people that have had to just under like the worst conditions. I think the last time I can remember hearing about something where it was just like an absolutely brutal like filming conditions was The Revenant with DiCaprio and that
Yeah.
whole thing. But very rarely do you hear about that kind of stuff anymore, which I mean, it's good. I'm glad people don't have to be in miserable conditions, but we've talked about it so many times before that this just relying so much on blue and green screens, man, you lose something. You lose something in these movies. It's taken some of the magic away. Oh, which
Agreed.
I mean, here's a side note. Apparently, it's the fact that this is a headline is sad, but apparently they are trying to lean more towards actual physical sets for Avengers Doomsday as opposed to green screen, which I mean, Marvel, they used to be, there's a lot of physical sets. There's some green screen stuff, but mostly to just being just a bunch of people standing in front of a blue screen, sometimes wearing blue unitards themselves to have their costumes superimposed. But so I'm glad that I think it seems like we might actually be moving towards that. Like that realization may be coming where it's like, you know what? I think we might be losing something here. So I'm glad to hear more studios kind of leaning towards doing some practical effects.
Yeah, absolutely.
But okay, so that was basically the extent of my list. What else do you have as far as entertainment news?
Well, we talk about games and we talk about TV and we talk about movies all the time, but another interest of mine is cards, specifically trading card games such as Magic. And recently I watched it's like their convention where they announced the coming year for what's going, and they're doing a lot of crossovers. It feels like year after year after year, we're getting more and more crossovers. And whether you're into it or not, I always like to hear people's dissenting views on things. And so the purists hate all the crossovers. They'd rather they just stay in the known universe. But this year's crossovers are absolutely causing an absolute uproar. So we are starting off the year with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a crossover. And then we are moving out. Yeah, it was, but like, so I'd already kind of moved on to high school when the Turtles hit, so I missed it, but I still like the movies and stuff and whatnot. But then they're doing a Hobbit crossover, which fits, because it's already a fantasy setting. It's a sword and sorcery setting. And they already have the Lord of the Rings one that they did a couple years ago. And then another one that they did last year was Forgotten Realms. So that fits. But obviously the Turtles don't quite fit. We've had Spider-Man this year. We've had Final Fantasy, which fits and doesn't fit. And then we wait for it. We are getting at the end of the year Star Trek in the Magic universe. Now, I would never classify. I'm open to anything as far as that goes, as far as the card game goes. I would never knock a crossover, but I got to tell you, and I'm a huge Trek fan. But I just have a problem if you're sitting at a table with a guy and he's like, all right, I'm going to take my 2 Goblin Warriors and spin on you for 4 damage. And you're like, okay, I'm going to spin on you with the USS Enterprise, repulsor blast or whatever, photon torpedoes, and you see what I'm saying? You see where you could run into problems?
Yeah. Well, and so I don't know anything about trading card games or anything like that.
Your opinion.
Whenever we were talking before, like at first you were talking about people being upset, and like whenever you say it the way that you say it there, I can understand. Like, it sounds like that's awful. That sounds like fan fiction. It sounds
Yeah.
like you're just taking two properties and just slamming them against one another and expecting them to
Yeah.
mix. But when you told me that they're not actually new cards, they're essentially reskins of existing cards where it's like, okay, this
Yeah.
card is actually just this other card that's called something else. It does the exact same things. It's just got new artwork, a different name or whatever
Yeah.
to align with this property. As long as it's that, then why would I care? Like, why I don't know why anybody would be upset about it. If it's just like reskins, like, okay, well then let the Ninja Turtles fans have their Ninja Turtle deck that, all the stuff, because then all the balancing is still the same. All that stuff's still good, and you don't have to worry about rebalancing the entire game or having this, incongruous themes and stuff like that. But yeah, if they were just completely new, I could understand the hate over it, because it just sounds rough whenever I hear it explained the way you said it there. It just sounds ugly.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, like I said at the beginning, huge fan of these crossovers, but like something with like Star Trek with the Trek is you almost feel like you need to be sitting across the table with somebody that has a competing Trek deck. Maybe a different color, maybe a different angle to the way it's played.
When they do these crossovers, how many cards are we talking?
Okay, so some of them are big, some of them are full sets, 300-400 cards. But some of them are 5 or 10 cards.
Okay.
Some of them are 5. So Spider-Man's a full set, but Trek's going to be a full set.
Allow me to sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about, because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
And that's fine.
So this is going to blow my mind. This sounds so expensive. So you have so that's okay. We got a crossover. So you have new crossover. You're excited about this new crossover.
Absolutely.
And let's say it's got 300 or 400. So how much is that? And then I assume the whole thing is you can get the packs, but then you don't know what card you're going to get. So to complete this 300 or 400 cards, you got to go through God only knows how many actual cards in a pack, unless you just want to pay.
Yeah.
This sounds like it sounds rough. It sounds rough. This sounds this sounds like a grotesquely expensive hobby every time they do this.
It is. And there's a great t-shirt out there that says Magic the Gathering. It's like drugs, but more expensive. But there's a lot of sites out there that sell singles. So if you're trying to complete onesies and twosies on a set, you can do that without, doing it. Of course, the initial box is, I mean, it depends on how popular it is. Avatar: The Last Airbender is out right now, and those boxes are through the roof already. Then you got to deal with the scalper market that's clearing them off at Target and Walmart.
I have seen those, like people at Costco, whenever they like drop a Pokemon box or something like that, and you see soccer moms throwing hams at each other.
Yeah. So anyway, but back to the crossover. I'm super excited about it. I just feel like a lot of times when you're sitting at the table, you hope that another person's, stack is a similar setup. You know what I mean? A similar genre, if you will. It would just feel weird to me. So I actually have a more problem with that specific one than you do. But yeah. So it's a weird thing, but again, I think it helps rejuvenate the franchise and the genre and the company as a whole, which it's owned by Wizards now. So it's owned by same guys that own D&D. So
now, whenever we come to trading card games, how diverse is that? If so, obviously the two big ones, D&D isn't trading cards, it is tabletop, and then but Magic is obviously that's like the OG. I don't know anything about it other than it's the OG. But what kind of are we talking about? Like is there some sort of like monopoly, or like how many players are there whenever it comes to trading card games? How many companies are there? Is it like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or is it just all over the place?
Bro, first off, it's all over the place. Second, I don't know how people do more than one, for the very reason you just mentioned earlier, is the expense. But so you've
Prohibitively
got
expensive.
you've got Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Star Wars has their thing now. Disney is launching a brand new one that's going to go through the roof called Lorcana. And so that one will be huge. You've got Gundam. You've got One Piece has one out there as well.
And
Lord
each
of the
of
Rings.
these can have hundreds of cards.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Gosh, dude.
It's insane. It can get crazy.
So, and what was the crux of your thesis is crossovers good?
Crossovers are good, and I think if you do them in measured formats, if you're just playing at home and not playing competitively, I feel like if somebody wants to do Ninja Turtles versus Spider-Man, I can totally see that from a realism standpoint. But when you're talking about goblins versus the Starship Enterprise, I think we really need to draw a line somewhere.
But I mean, okay, again, coming as the person that knows nothing,
Yeah.
I think it really just depends on how you look at it, right? Like if you're looking at it as a tactician or just a battle of strategy and wits,
yeah,
then I don't think that there would be any problem with it because, like you said, they're just reskins of existing cards. So there's no strategic advantage or tactical advantage or chance of something being unbalanced because it's new or whatever. But so there, I see that side where it's like, okay, just from the mechanics of it, and just like,
which
oh,
the min maxers would be exactly what you just said.
yeah, so
they're all about the math.
Yeah, so like on a mechanical aspect of it, I can certainly understand like, hey, there's no problem here because that's all good. But looking at it from somebody, which I assume is more in your thing, where you want to kind of like the whole point, like anything, when you play a game, you want to lose yourself in it. You want to kind of like be transported, and or you watch a movie and you don't want your you don't want your suspension of disbelief to be shattered. You want to kind of
absolutely.
you want to be in that moment, and that's why things that happen in movies that just seem off to us or whatever, that's how we can be taken out of those things. So I can imagine if your thing is you want to play this and you're kind of role playing through the card game, and you're in this thing, and then you've got like orcs or elves or goblins or whatever, and then you're going against the Starship Enterprise. Yeah, I imagine that being like like if that's what you're getting out of it, then that I can see how that's just not even fun.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. It's what you just said. It defies the suspension of disbelief. So it's like you're sitting there and you're like,
you cannot rationalize that in your head.
This isn't right. If I'm coming at you with elves, then you should be hitting me with orcs and goblins or whatever, or even other elves is fine. But so that part of the purist argument is the point. I get that piece. So my thing is, if you're playing home games, maybe you do a theme night, and you're like, hey, we're going full sci-fi tonight with the card game, and be like, so you guys can use Enterprise. There is another sci-fi set called this Edge of Eternities. So yeah, if you're playing Edge of Eternities versus Trek when it comes out later next year,
so
I can see
Edge
that.
of Eternity, is that like their own
yes
sci-fi?
It's not across. Yes,
so it's their own original but still sci-fi. Okay,
yeah, and it's a really good set. It's already hitting really valuable cards in it, but yeah, so I think you want to go toe to toe with the Enterprise on that. Absolutely, have at it. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because it's something that is near and dear to me, and I think it's anything we talk about, anytime when you talk about purists or the fan base, and the worst thing about a fan base is its fan base usually.
Well, I definitely we'll see. I was hoping to hear some feedback from like one of our like regular viewers and biggest supporters outside of people who know us personally. System of Rips. I'm very curious to hear his opinion. I don't know if he is.
Yeah,
here
I would have
tonight,
liked that too.
Yeah, because that's his thing. That's his whole thing on TikTok is the trading card game stuff. And so yeah, I'm very curious to see what his thoughts would be on that. But my thoughts, as someone who knows nothing, is I can see it like like I said, mechanically, no issues. But yeah, if the whole thing is to lose yourself in the game, I can see why people would be struggling with it.
And system, when you do end up watching this episode, which I know you will, once I get this guy at the table, yeah, it'll be old hat within a month. He'll be teaching us stuff. So anyway, there we are.
But yeah, so that's all I've got. Do you have anything else that we want to touch on? Any random tangents we want to get into? I know that you finished part 1 of Stranger Things. I have not even finished episode 1 yet. So
I watched the first 4 episodes. They're very good. They're all very long.
Is that all it is? Just 4 episodes for the part 1?
I think for part 1 it's 4 episodes. But they're all like, dude, I'm talking they're all at least an hour and a half, I think.
Okay.
I think one of them was 2 hours. Anyway, all the classic I'm trying to do this with 0 spoilers. So
I appreciate
all
that.
your cast is back. Everybody that you saw last season except for Argyle, the always high pizza van guy. Which I like that guy. So it pissed me off that he wasn't in it, but my son was telling me he couldn't get the money that he wanted, so he didn't. He bucked out. But
oh my gosh, man, that guy went to his head. If he's like, I need more money. I'm the pizza guy.
You looked like him just now when you did. It's a perfect impression.
Whoa, that is an insult. But
wow, man, he had
to get a big head and be like, no. Trust me, guys, the finale's not going to be the same without Argyle there. You will rue the day that you did not put that other 0 on there. I think you're the first person I've heard mention his name in this. I don't think he's going to be sorely missed.
You can see him in the contract negotiation being like, she might be 11, but I'm 1. So show me the money. Anyway, he's not in it.
I believe Vecna is 1.
Yeah. Actually, yes, you're right.
Is 001.
He is 001. And there's so many things we need to talk about on so many levels, but this is you're getting me back for all those weeks you had already seen everything and I had to catch up. And this is it, and it sucks. But there's so many things.
It does suck, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, man. It sucks. I'll admit it. And I apologize.
We've got 2 weeks because obviously, again, next week is going to be our big live stream of the Game Awards. Yeah. So I've got 2 weeks. I'll get caught up in Stranger Things by 2 weeks whenever we can talk about normal stuff again. But obviously, again, we will still be here next week. Just to reiterate, just to be clear, we will be here next week, but we'll be live streaming the Game Awards. So we'll have the Game Awards here in the corner. We'll be talking over it. We'll be reacting to all that stuff. So you can join here, watch along, chat with us. I don't know. I was thinking about some things that we could do. Hey, anybody that has any suggestions on things that we could do during some of the lulls of the Game Awards, which there will be lulls, let us know. I was thinking like maybe we could do some bingo with stuff like where like, hey, if Hideo Kojima is featured in more than 2 segments of the show, like that's a check, like where maybe do some bingo cards or something. I don't know, but anybody that has any ideas, throw them at us.
Just make sure if we're doing bingo that world premiere is the free space.
I do need to grab that soundbite. Whenever I was editing the video that went live earlier this morning, unfortunately, I ran out of time. I wasn't able to edit it as well as I would have liked, and I didn't get to do the intros, but I needed to get it out so that we could kind of like gain some momentum back with the algorithm that still apparently hates me. But I wanted to do something where a gag that I thought of. I want to do a joke with the world premiere thing, but I didn't get to do it. But I'll have to get that so we can have that on our little soundboard, the world premiere, because we're going to hear that so many times next week.
Yeah. So,
anyway. But yeah, so there we go. All right, we had I think we got all that. So we had, as far as hardcore casual broadcasts go, we got a pretty tight one today. An hour and 18 minutes.
Pretty casual.
Yeah, there you go. So anyways, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you all.
Feel free to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, give us your feedback. Whenever you watch this, send us something. We'll read it and reply. But yeah, thank you so much, and we will see you next week for the Game Awards, December 11th, and we'll actually be starting a little bit early because the pre-show starts at, I believe it's 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central Time. Correct? I believe it's 6:30. So we'll actually be starting. We'll be starting a little early, so we will start. May even start a little bit earlier than pre-show, but we will at least start when the pre-show starts for the Game Awards. So be here, watch it with us, enjoy, have fun, and we'll throw some predictions around, see how right or wrong we were over the last couple of weeks, and as we go through the night. So yeah, We will see you guys then. So have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you all.
I must bid you adieu.